So hi, Women Grimes Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with...
Hi, I'm Maisie from Air Drawn Dagger.
And we're some questions to say about the upcoming album, A Guide for Apparitions. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
Yeah, it's been great. It's we went into this not really knowing what to expect, but we brought 2 singles out so far, and the response has been amazing. Like, it's more than we could ever have hoped for. And we still have a bunch of singles to come out and the actual album itself. So yeah, really exciting.
Hell yeah.
Wonderful.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to hear the full record, but we did check out the singles so far. Fucking awesome.
They're so sick.
Of course. Very funny that we're chatting today because, funnily enough, I found you guys with your first single, Castle, on TikTok like a week before your team reached out. So I'm like, it's meant to be. Like,
Yeah,
I found the band,
that.
started following you guys, and a week later, your team's in our email like, you want to chat with them? I'm like, dude, fuck yeah, I want to chat with them. Castle's dope.
Very good. They know.
Yeah, someone's got a tracker on my phone, I think.
Exactly. Amazing. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, so the whole album is kind of a concept album. So we've tied in both like the song lyrics themselves and the videos. So obviously all of the artwork as well for all of the singles and for the actual album itself are all part of the world. So the lady on the front is who we call the Hag, and she's just kind of this kind of all-powerful entity. You don't really know if she's like good or evil, but she does a lot. So I won't spoil it too much because there's lots of videos to come out, but yeah.
Okay. All right, lovely.
All right. Hell yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the writing process for the album?
Yeah, so we had 8 days in the studio with Neil Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew it was going to be quite a tight turnaround. We knew we had to have the album pretty much good to go by the time we went in there. We do have our own studio as well that we could do kind of like little bits from there, but the bulk of it needed to be done. Mm-hmm. We were also, as we started writing, we were on the tail end of our EP. Mm-hmm. And then we also had our biggest hometown show coming up at the same time. So it was very like chaotic few months where we had a lot to get done. And then we kind of finished writing a few of the things like in the studio. So we were down in Southampton at Neil Kennedy studio. So we just kind of holed up there for 8 days, and it was kind of 24/7, just like writing and recording, which is a dream come true, really. But yeah, it was really intense, and I think that kind of comes through a little bit with the tracks as well. There's a lot of kind of like go in them. So
yeah, that's a super intense timeline to only have 8 days to record the record. Can we talk a little bit about like the feelings in the studio? Because I would assume it wasn't like, man, we're good, like this is chill. I would assume it was very high pressure situation.
Yeah, I mean, we were all stoked to be there. We've worked with Neil before as well, so we kind of knew what to expect. We know that we work really well with him. And we all work really well together as like a 3-piece as well. Like we're really good at kind of dealing with each other's stresses and that sort of thing. And then we had Tom he was doing like doing the behind the scenes videos as well, and he was like a really nice presence to have in the room. He was very like calming. Yeah, it was super intense. I did all of the vocals over like 4 days, which was pretty knackering. It was kind of it was really kind of I feel very grateful to have had the experience of just like doing what you love for literally like 10 hours a day and just hammering through it. So yeah, it was great. It was very tiring, and it was yeah, like you say, it was pretty intense, but yeah, I wouldn't change it.
Hell yeah. And I know you gave like the rough timeline, but if we could get like rough dates of like when the writing process kind of started and then when you guys actually got the masters in hand.
Oh God, good question. I mean, we never really stopped writing. We're kind of a band that's always got something on the go. Like one of us always has something in the works. But we do tend to write sort of a batch of say 30 songs to cut down to like 6. So we write a lot.
Yeah.
And then in terms of we were writing for a good old while, and then as it got kind of closer to the date, we realized that we really need to pick up the pace with it. And then I want to say we were recording in like April of last year, and then we were just kind of getting mixes through over the course of like a few months. Yeah, and then we're getting things mastered kind of as and when, and then they all came through seemingly at once after a while. So, but yeah, we were doing this before we signed to Long Branch as well. So we were trying to get everything kind of not rushed, but like we had like kind of deadlines that we were sticking to try and get demos out to people, and so yeah, the whole thing has felt very like nonstop.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can imagine. Yeah. Oof. So, what song off the album took longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
Did you say hardest to write? Sorry, or
longest, hardest to write? I mean, honestly, it could be either or.
Really good question. I think my favorite to write is one called Bellyaches that isn't out yet. Just because that felt like it just came out of nowhere. It didn't take very long to write at all. And my rule when we're writing a big batch of songs is that I don't write second verses until we decide that's a song that we're going to keep. But for that one, it all just kind of flowed straight through. So that was a really quick write, and I really enjoy those ones just because not because I'm lazy, but because they're just, you really like lock in with those and you get kind of the flow with it. So we wrote that in like a matter of hours. Obviously there was building around that as well, but yeah, like the actual like the bones of it were done within a few hours. And then the longest to write, I'm not really sure. I think Apparitions that just came out, it didn't necessarily take long to write, but we knew that something was kind of missing from it when we left the studio. We knew that we kept trying to write bridges for it and stuff like that, and nothing was really sticking. So when we kind of knew that we wanted a feature on there, we were like, I think that's the one for like it. And then like we got in touch with Toby and he was down, and I was like, it just all kind of made sense. So that was kind of, I suppose, the longest to write because that took months.
Just took months to piece together. Yeah, gotcha. So how'd the track list for your album come about? Did you guys write the opener to the opener, close to be a closer, shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
Yeah, so the starting track and the end track, we knew when we were writing them that that's what they were, without necessarily writing them for that. It's just as soon as we got the vibe of them, we knew that that's where they were going to sit. And then there was just a lot of sort of like back and forth between us three over a few months of trying to work out where things go. And generally we were all kind of in agreement of where things should be. There was just like a couple that we weren't really sure where they were living, but yeah, I think we're all really kind of stoked on the track listings now because they needed to flow like sonically as well as with it being a concept album, just having everything like make sense in like a timeline, I suppose.
Yeah. Adds another layer of complexity to already trying to like follow a formula but not follow a formula. I get it.
Yeah, totally. I've really enjoyed writing that way though. It really just gives you this like endless kind of source of like things to write about because you build in the world yourself. So yeah, it's been really fun. Yeah,
so you prefer writing from like the world building standpoint versus like pulling from your own experiences, or did you kind of use your own experiences while in the world building? I'm curious like about that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we're a very like theatrical band. We have our stage shows are just as theatrical as our music videos and the albums and everything. So yeah, definitely like I love doing world building, but I definitely combine kind of like life experiences and stuff like that as well. I think everything is always kind of a metaphor. So yeah, when it comes down to it, everything is about experiences, just in the guise of witches.
Yeah, I got you. And hiding, like being able to kind of hide yourself almost behind those metaphors, does it make it easier for you to talk about those life experiences, especially if it's something particularly close to you?
Yeah, totally. And I think it just makes it feel a little bit more like interesting and maybe like not poetic, but like again like theatrical. Like it just it gives that element of like entertainment to the whole thing, which is what we do, you know, we're entertainers. So yeah, I think I definitely prefer writing that way, and I really admire songwriters who don't do that as well, who really get straight to the point and do it well.
Mhm.
I think that's the hardest way to write, is to literally say what you're thinking instead of writing about ghouls. But yeah, that's just the way I enjoy writing.
That's interesting, because like typically, when we have an artist that will always like write from experience and then they go for the concept, and hiding behind metaphors, it's like, damn, that was difficult. But it's funny to hear from you where you're like, I'd rather just shroud everything in metaphors and write about witches and ghouls. It's easier for me than like putting myself out there and just it being me.
Yeah, and it's more fun, like, well, if you can write about witches, why not?
Exactly. Come on. That's awesome. Hell yeah. So would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you were creating this record?
Yeah, we always wanted to write an album. And we've been doing this for quite a while. We've been writing music for quite a while. But we knew that we didn't want to do a debut album until it was time, until we had sort of people that wanted a debut album. We just kind of wanted to make sure that we weren't just force feeding people 12 tracks. We wanted to make sure we were giving people something they wanted.
True.
So there's been a lot of like pressure around it, because we're all very aware that you don't get another debut album. So yeah, it's been kind of a very like landmark event for us, I suppose. And thankfully we're all really stoked on what we've made, so hopefully everyone else is as well.
Hell yeah. I know you mentioned there was a lot of different things going on around the time that you guys were working on the record, constantly flipping between like, playing shows and working on the record. Did you struggle at all with like those alternating headspaces? I know you had your biggest hometown show of your career while also like trying to be in the studio. So did you guys struggle with that at all?
Yeah, totally. And I think even if I think everyone, even when you're just focusing on, I don't think there are any musicians now who are just focusing on an album or a single or anything. But I think even then, you still are gonna feel the pressure of that. But at the same time, like I say, like we've just been so excited and grateful for all these opportunities that when you do kind of get like, oh my God, like it's too much, then you very, very quickly remind yourself like, no, this is a dream come true. Like we're just so excited about the whole thing that we just kind of carry on. So yeah, it's been intense, but just the overwhelming feeling is gratitude.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that a part of your release plan was kind of waiting for people to want the debut record. Do you feel like that added to the pressure, or do you feel like that alleviated the pressure, considering people want it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think we've really flip-flopped between the two, where sometimes you just kind of feel like, yeah, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And then you also have the imposter syndrome of just kind of being like, oh my God, what if it's terrible? Or like the EP was like a really big turning point for us, where we got a load of new fans and we kind of really felt like we'd finally hit like, oh yeah, like this feels like good now. So then when we were writing the album, we were like, oh, what if it's not as good as the EP? Like, like that was like the last thing we did was like the best thing we did. So we were just like, oh no, there's like, what if this is terrible? We were just kept the amount of times where we would just kind of turn to each other, especially during the recording process. We'd be like, is this shit? And then we'd be like, no, it's good.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should do in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
I recommend when all the singles are out, watching all of the videos, because they all link up. And it's going to give you a really good taste of the world that we've been building. And then stick some headphones in and listen a million times.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, damn straight. All right. And this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Frivolous.
Ooh.
Intense. And scared. I think there's some elements of fear in there.
Oh, okay.
In a good way. But you can definitely feel the need for it to be like everything we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Heard.
And in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
I'm just stoked. I just want everybody to be so excited when they listen to it. And whatever people feel, as long as they feel something, as long as they're not listening and just like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like I'd rather people hate it than not care about it.
Yeah, I got you.
That's fair. All right. And are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the album, positive or negative?
So when we recorded, we did a mixtape a few years back, and I got really sick during that time and completely lost my voice for about 9 months.
Oh no! Whoa.
Yeah, it was a really crazy time. And then that was playing in the back of my mind as we were coming to the run up of recording the album, because obviously with it only being 8 days, and Neil's a very busy man, and we didn't have any other time that we could fit in either. I really had that in the back of my mind the whole time, where I was just like, what if I get sick? It was crazy. And then the first day I woke up and I was feeling not very well. I think looking back, I'm pretty sure it was just the stress of because I was fine after a couple of days. By the time I was recording vocals, I was completely fine. But I think that day when I woke up, I was like, oh, this was literally like my worst nightmare for the past 6 months for this to happen. It was fine in the end. So
and that's all that matters. You still got that shit done.
Yeah, we got it down, and that's it.
Hell yeah. Love it. So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
So we always get snacks in the van before we leave, and we have a very strict system of, we have some form of candy. So we're getting a lot of, in our Aldi in the UK, we have Walter worms and Wendy worms, and they're just like gummy worms, but they're really good. From the Aldi ones are really, really good. We have bourbon biscuits, so they're just like chocolate, like sandwich, like cookies.
Yeah, like Oreos?
Kind of like an Oreo, but they're rectangular.
Oh.
And they're not as dark chocolate as an Oreo. They're more like a lighter chocolate, and they've got chocolate like filling as well.
Okay.
And then always some sort of crisps. So we're really into like the lentil chips at the moment, and also some form of like salted nuts or something. So that's like the holy trinity of or holy, what was that for? Like quadrant, I don't know.
Quinity.
You know? Of snacks in the van.
Hell yeah. And on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
Ooh, great question. I think we would be something like a maybe like a lemon and like lavender cheesecake. So our whole branding is like blue floral, so the floral. And I feel like you would see a lemon and lavender cheesecake in a bakery and you'd be like, oh, that's kind of dubious. I don't know if I like that or not. And some people will and some people won't. I think that's why we would be a lemon and lavender cheesecake.
That's wonderful. All right.
Yeah. And for the last couple of questions, going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
I don't know. I feel like I'd be really boring with this. And I'd go for like, maybe like a lasagna, because who's got time to make lasagna? Like a really well-made, like homemade lasagna. Who's got the time? And then maybe some like fries topped with mac and cheese and like pulled pork. I feel like the whole, like, mac and cheese barbecue combination is pretty good. And then just loads of wine, I guess, as a drink. And then maybe like a brownie and ice cream for dessert. I don't know. I feel like that's the most boring death row meal ever. But there's a reason that those foods are popular. So
that's why I was like, it's a classic for a reason. Everything you said, my stomach's rumbling, my mouth is watering. I need that now. I get it. I get it. Hell yeah. And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Lord of the Rings.
All right.
Yeah.
I love Lord of the Rings. I was like, as a child, I was completely obsessed with Lord of the Rings. That was like my most like imaginary game. That's the one that I would play the most, to just pretend to be in Lord of the Rings. My little sister used to get sick of me, so I'd make her be Gimli all the time. And then
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
great.
so we used to fight orcs the whole time. But yeah, Lord of the Rings, definitely.
All right.
Solid pick.
And I've done of asking the last question. Every single person we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
This is a really hard question because I feel like it depends favorite color of what as well.
Uh-huh.
But I think I've been so indoctrinated by our own branding that I'm going to go with light blue.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. You gotta stick to the brand. Come on.
Yeah.
So as I said, that's all the questions you have today. Is there anything that you'd like to plug?
So album is out on April 4th, and if you are anywhere near Sheffield, or even if you're not, there are flights available. Our biggest ever show is going to be April 5th at Corporation in Sheffield, so come see us.
Hell yeah.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, thank you for now. It's been Maisie from Air Drawn Dagger, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.